better than this one.
Yeah? Have you tested it?
No,
Oh, you want to test it?
please.
Oh, she'll love this. Probably should just take this away completely.
Well,
No.
one step at a time.
Okay.
Oh, that wasn't a request?
Testing 1, 2, 3. Testing 1, 2, 3. Testing 1, 2, 3.
John's roll.
Really?
Oh, man.
1, 2, 3.
Yeah, man.
Can you hear me? All right, so it's going out. All right.
So what I'm going to do is just do this for right now.
Yeah, you got it. Yep.
See what that does. And then what we may end up doing, I may replace one of these with those.
That's not going to work.
Why not?
She's got one, and it works. You can hear it. It goes out. Because the other one wasn't working.
So explain that.
I will.
Listen, try it one more time.
All right.
No, come on.
Yep. Testing, mic test, 1, 2, 3, 4. Testing, 1, 2, 3, 4. Mic test, testing, 1, 2, 3, 4.
Now, the problem is this. Because that'll pick up
You're in the middle.
Everything.
all the noise.
Right.
Okay, very good.
What's your call? What do you think?
Yeah, well,
These guys, this
Gives her a
guy's
mic?
better than mine.
Do you think we ought to leave that there so it gives the impression she still has a mic? Because if we take it away, it looks like she doesn't have a mic. Nobody knows that she doesn't have a mic.
but they'll hear it.
I understand the concept, but it's optics. I'd leave it there. It'll still pick it up. She won't know the difference.
John, would you kindly? Sure, I'd be happy to go. And we put Billy up there too.
If you have to hide back there too. Okay. There you go. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Smile like you mean it.
What they told us in class to ask them to show 1, 2. And everybody starts laughing.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
some out.
You order whatever, and it'll be here by the next meeting. We'll be good, right?
Just get her done tomorrow. And talk to Wendy for site.
That's a test.
And we can,
That would work great for those ones.
sure will.
May end up.
The other problem is, like you said, though, tapping, whatever, whispers, touches everything. No, not catching. And we can't hear it over here, but it will hear it on the YouTube. We'll hear it, right? Even though we don't hear it amplified throughout the room, it still picks it up and shoots the YouTube. So if I lean over
But
this
the
one,
same thing with these ones.
right, but these we can cut them off. Like if I lean over Steve, I can cut it off. I can interrupt it and cut it off when over Steve and say something. Versus, if I lean over and say, Jim, I like the way you parted your hair, there's no cutting.
Melanie,
It goes whoop, right up. Well, see, that's what they're listening to. Put them up here, pointed down to each seat, and there was no cut off. No control. We may not hear an amplifier, but there's no go across YouTube or whatever we have in front.
But so you have a trade-off. You either get everything or you put one of these mics and really want them on and you get a
Right.
So it's half of that.
So maybe we should have a lean in and talk session.
It's a wall. It's a wall, but it's wall. It's wall. Like it.
It's right here.
It's not like a second.
Everything. So if you ruffle papers, if you sit and tab,
We've got a
Have
really
chewed
nice.
mints?
I think the chewing is going to do everything.
Well, I can just use his.
Well, that's a good test though, because
Okay.
it might be nice to switch some of these out for that style. Because that way you guys don't have this in your face anymore. I don't have to worry about people leaning back. So there's benefits to that. The problem is you
Yeah, because
cannot
this
cut
one's
that-
old, isn't it?
Yeah, the thing is you cannot cut that one off.
You can't cut it off in the back though.
I can. Yeah.
Like during the off season, it's not like
Yeah, there's no
running
enough.
house.
So the whole thing is, can I do that?
But this is the initial test tonight. So
So we're testing something.
we're testing it tonight.
And
Yes, sir.
What's the last beach before you get in this house going? Well, yeah, that's what I mean.
Yes.
Yeah.
Last one.
Yeah. Calabash, something for next stop.
Yes. Calabash is still.
and you don't really care, do you? Jim?
Well, it's off the beach.
Okay.
I heard you.
Oh, that's what you're saying. It's good.
Ocean.
I went to show you my,
Side by side.
my daughter lives in West Virginia. Sent me this.
Can't get
If we got mics out two different, he'll get the call this ASAP.
I can't get it out of my mind. I don't know why. I must have heard it somewhere.
Yeah, I've got it if somebody wants it.
It's getting more shut.
I'd be confused.
Sunset is growing.
That would be the fourth. No. Not that old. That's what I told.
Not if everything's
That's what I told.
trees green out. No, I think
Well, for reasons
One of the academies.
Good evening, everybody. I'd like to call to order our regular meeting of the Board of Commissioners for October 11th, 2016 here in Waxhaw. I am privileged to have with us tonight Private First Class Jackson Lee of the Mecklenburg County Young Marines, who will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. So if you'd all rise.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please remain standing for a moment of silence. Thank you. Okay, do we have any last-minute changes to the agenda? If not, I'll take a motion to adopt the agenda as presented. So moved. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Melody, do we have, Town Clerk Melody Schuler, do we have anybody signed up for public comments?
No, sir.
Okay. Moving right along to the consent agenda. I'll take a motion to approve the consent agenda. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All right, at this time, we're into the presentations and recognition. And so first up for us is the presentation of the OSHA Public Safety Sharp Award and Renewal. And I'm going to turn this over to Debbie Rogers Lowry, Town Safety Consultant.
Well, hello to everyone. Thank you for having us here tonight, and I am here to introduce some special guests that we have. We actually have two here now, and we have one coming who, for some reason, wanted to spend some quality time on 485. So that's where he still is, but he will be here. Now, we are here tonight to recognize the Waxhaw Police Department for the recertification of the OSHA Public Sector Sharp Award. And I wanted to introduce our guests who are here from OSHA, but I want you to realize the importance of the award that they are being recognized for. The SHARP Award, SHARP is an acronym for Safety and Health Achievement Recognition Program. Now, up until about 2011, it was only open to private sector business. That would be businesses, manufacturing, hospitals, grocery stores, and so forth. It was not open to public sector at that time. But around that year, 2011, our state began to offer it for public sector. Now, as soon as we got word of that, Buddy Zeal, Lieutenant Zeal over here in the corner, and Billy Sellers, our safety director here with the town, jumped on that right away and said, what can we do? We want to participate. We're all over this. And in doing that, they became the first police department in the state to achieve that honor, and that was 4 years ago. Recertifying for that involves the same process as the initial inspection, which is, it's a 4-part program. The program involves a comprehensive inspection. It involves a review of the written programs and so forth. It also involves employee commitment and management commitment, which is where all of you come in, because it is the support that we get from the board that leads our chief, our lieutenants, and so forth to be able to do what they need to do to keep their folks safe. So in doing that, we had a 2-part inspection, a safety side and a health and hygiene side. We have our health and hygiene inspector with us tonight. This is Nelson Edwards. What he looks at is what can you breathe, what can you absorb, what can you ingest, what can you swallow that can harm you, and how are you protecting yourself and your staff from that. What our other consultant looks at is the safety side. What can fall on you? What can you trip over? What can you poke yourself with? That kind of thing. What can hit you in the head? So once you get through those two inspections, which we have done, and I would call your attention to his right pocket. He carries a very fine-tooth comb in it, and he used it. We had a lot of looking under and looking around and so forth and reviewing everything that we do, but we passed. We had a few little minor tweaks here and there, took care of them. Lieutenant Zeal and Billy Sellers and the other officers worked together to get everything taken care of, and they found us to be in very good order. So therefore, we are able to recertify for this 4-year program. And thinking about this, the officers and what they do, our police department here, it's a very dangerous job, and these are very dangerous times, but they do it, and they do it safely. They know their coworkers are counting on them to go home. They know their families are counting on them to go home. And they know, of course, the town appreciates everything that they do and that they do it safely and efficiently. So with that, I am going to turn it over to our most special guest who, let me say a couple little things about her. This is Commissioner Cherie Berry. I think all of you know her or recognize her. You've seen her somewhere in your building, especially if it has more than one floor. She actually, you recognize her from the pictures in the elevators, and I have heard her say probably the truest statement ever: if you get in an elevator and you don't see my picture, you need to get out, which is so true. But she's actually serving, actually coming to the end of her fourth term as the first female labor commissioner in our state's history, and looking to hopefully come along again for another term, which will be record-setting. Actually, 4th term was, but record-setting 5th term in November of this year. So, Commissioner Berry, won't you come up and speak to these nice folks? Thank you so much.
Well, hey. I am so honored to be here tonight. I love to do this. This is the fun part of my job because I get a chance to recognize the people who do all the dangerous, hard, heavy lifting work in North Carolina. And it's such a privilege to be able to honor a police department in this way because, as Debbie said, it is dangerous work, and these are dangerous times. And Debbie, I'm sure you should not be surprised by the fact, since she's so knowledgeable and well-spoken, that she is the chairperson of our OSHA Advisory Council for the state. So I depend on Debbie in so many ways, and she has been so good and instrumental at getting the public sector involved in all of these programs that the private sector had been involved in before. So Debbie, you're my dear friend, you're my wonderful colleague, and I appreciate everything you do. And she's so special. I wouldn't want to do this job without her, really, because she's such a help to all of us. But we're here tonight to honor your police department, and before I begin, I'd just like to give you a little clue about that elevator picture. You know, when you get in that elevator, that picture has certain powers. And the eyes, you know, you got to be careful and don't do anything in those elevators you wouldn't want your mama to know, because I'm watching in those elevators. You may think that the door closed and it's all private and nice, but be aware of that. So tonight we are here to present this special SHARP recertification, and that's a wonderful award to give because it proves that you got it the first time, but then you kept all this going. And that's the test, to see if you can keep it going. And it's not easy. It's not easy. But all of you have given your support to this program to allow your police department to do everything it needs to do to keep the officers and everyone working for the police safe and healthy. There's nothing more important than keeping the first responders, the police and all others who are there to help all of us, keeping them safe and healthy so that they can do their jobs. And that's so very, very important. The other critically important thing about safety and health, not just for police departments, but for any working person in North Carolina, whether it's the private or the public sector, is to make sure that they get to go home safe and healthy to their loved ones, families, and friends at the end of their work day. We all have people working, right? We all have people working that we love and depend on. And should any of my children ever want to be police officers, and I would be honored if they did, because I realize the high integrity of that position and the importance of that position, I would be so comfortable having my most precious possessions, my children, work for Lieutenant Zeal and the rest of the folks at the Waxhaw Police Department, because I know you would take care of my child. You would make sure that my child comes home to me at the end of their shift safe and healthy. I know you would do that. And there's no higher compliment I can pay than to say, I would trust you with my most precious possession, because I know the kind of folks you are here. And I'm grateful for that, and thank you so much for your participation in this program. You know, if there's taxpayers in the audience, well, we're all taxpayers, right? We all pay a tax one way or the other. But for the taxpayers that are here tonight, this is such an important program, too, because not only does it save lives and limbs, but it also saves taxpayer money. Because when you have these types of programs in place, your workers' compensation rates are really low. So that's saving taxpayer money that you can spend on other important priorities that you have. So the citizens of Waxhaw should be very grateful to all of you and to the police department for the good work it does, for allowing that savings to be absorbed and used by the community in other ways. But the most important thing is lives and limbs of individuals, and making sure that everybody gets the opportunity to step across that threshold inside their house at the end of their shift and say, honey, I'm home. That's the most important thing. That's why I'm so honored to be here tonight. Thank you so much for everything you do and for participating in our Safety Awards banquet. The town of Waxhaw at this year's banquet in Monroe got a 5-year Gold Safety Award, and that's 5 consecutive years where you lived up to the criteria to receive that gold award. So thank you for that, and thank you, Waxhaw Police Department, for being the first in the state to achieve the SHARP designation. It's been a pleasure and an honor being here tonight, and it's always a pleasure working with good folks like y'all. Thank you so much. And now I'd like to present to Lieutenant Zill, if you'll come up, please. I'd like to present your SHARP recertification certificate. There are 41 public sector SHARPs, and you were the first police department to get this. Thank you. My honor and privilege to present the town of Waxhaw Police Department with the recertification of their public sector SHARP. It's a very hard-earned distinction, and they've done an outstanding job in receiving this, and thank you, all of you. And will you please let everybody in the department know how very proud we are and honored to present this to all of you. Thank you so much.
And if every,
So we'll show this for people in the audience. Y'all will see it. Make sure we get it right side up. There you go. This is your SHARP banner, and whenever citizens see this, they will know the type of police department you have here, that they not only care about all of you, they care about each other deeply. So thank you again, and fly this with pride.
and we're going to take 2-3 minute recess and go out and have a picture taken. So
Bear with us.
thank you. You get one more photo.
Thank you, Commissioner Gray. Thank you so much. Yes, ma'am.
They want us all on the line.
You gonna go watch? How are you?
Okay. Okay, we'll resume. We all ready to resume back there? Okay. Next up in our presentation, now we get a chance to present a proclamation. Presentation of the Red Ribbon Week proclamation. October 23rd, 31st, 2016 has been designated as National Red Ribbon Week, which encourages Americans to wear a red ribbon to show their support for a drug-free environment. Before we present the proclamation, Russ Lee, the Executive Officer of the Mecklenburg County Young Marines, would like to say a few words.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for taking time in presenting us with this proclamation. And I'd like to echo a little bit about the police department. We're working with the next generation to make their job even easier. Young Marines is a national organization, a youth organization, and we take kids from the age of 8 to 18, boys and girls, and it's sort of a Marine Corps curriculum to help them with leadership, self-discipline, teamwork, and different other things. And one of the things we use is a drug demand reduction process, where we use different tools to educate them on street names, drug use, and the things and the effects they do. we try to encourage them in the schools that they go to, with permission with the principal and the teachers, to be able to give a 5 or 10 minute presentation to other kids, other peers, to maybe help them with their decision on whether or not to make drugs a part of their life. As we all know, and it would be too hard pressed to see so much news of how it affects families and kids. And so Red Ribbon Week is a week that we take out of the year that the Marine Corps started back a long time ago with Kiki Cameron. He was in the Marine Corps, retired, and he's with the DEA. And he saw how it affected his hometown. And the reason why they used that is his motto was, one person can make a difference. And that's what we're trying to do with these young boys and young girls, is being able to make a difference in their lives, to help them, to educate them so they'll make the right decisions as they grow older. Because Waxhaw is a great place to bring up a young man or a child, and we like to preserve that and protect that. Unfortunately, we only have one young man representing us tonight because we're the furthest south of the Mecklenburg County Young Marines. Most people are in the Charlotte, Gastonia, Kannapolis, Mooresville area, and with school in session, it's kind of tough to get folks to drive that way, and like the lady was speaking earlier about the 485 time, so it's tough. So we hammer down this point and able to announce it and understand. A lot of people might not know what the Young Marines are, but it's a great organization, and it's another tool that we can use to help educate for the success of their lives and to preserve ours. So, but I appreciate you folks letting us be able to address this tonight.
Well, thank you. And in honor of that, it is our honor to approve the following proclamation in support of Red Ribbon Week. Whereas communities across America have been plagued by the numerous problems associated with illicit drug use, and whereas the key to reducing drug use is education and community awareness, coupled with the hard work and determination of organizations such as the Mecklenburg County Young Marines of the Marine Corps League to foster a healthy, drug-free lifestyle. And whereas leaders within the community recognize that citizen support is one of the most effective tools in the effort to reduce the use of drugs in our communities. And whereas the red ribbon is a symbol commemorating the work of Enrique Camarena, Drug Enforcement Administration Special Agent, who was murdered in the line of duty, and represents the belief that one person can make a difference. And whereas the Ribbon Campaign was established by Congress in 1988 to not only encourage involvement in drug prevention and reduction efforts, but also to encourage a drug-free lifestyle. And whereas October 28th to the 31st, 2016 has been designated as National Red Ribbon Week, which encourages Americans to wear a red ribbon to show their support for a drug-free environment. And now, therefore, be it proclaimed that I, Stephen E. Meyer, Mayor of Town of Waxhaw, do hereby proclaim the week of October 23rd through 31st, 2016 as Red Ribbon Week in the town of Waxhaw, North Carolina, and urge all citizens to support this observance. I further call upon all citizens and civic leaders in this community to gain knowledge of the importance of drug-free environments. I would be happy to entertain a motion to adopt this proclamation on this 11th day of October 2016.
So moved.
We have a motion to adopt this proclamation. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
We also have some red ribbons. If it'd be okay, could he hand those out to everyone? That
Sure, but you got to accept the proclamation.
Okay,
first.
all right, yes, sir.
Thank you.
You know what? I want to congratulate you for reading that. Just one time instead.
Thanks for keeping track. I appreciate that.
I think it was twice.
I like it. So you get to come back the next meeting and critique as well, okay? But this time we'll critique him.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay. Moving on to reports. Commissioner reports. Commissioner Warner?
Nothing this evening.
Commissioner Stewart?
Nope.
Commissioner Fitzgerald?
Nothing tonight.
Commissioner Burke? Commissioner Hunt?
I'm good, thank you.
Okay. Four quick things. First of all, thank you to the staff for supporting the education session around the three bond referendums that are coming before the citizens of Union County for the libraries, South Piedmont Community College and Union County Public Schools. We had over 50 people here, which was a great turnout and a great way to educate the community on important issue. Congratulations and thank you to the staff with the pilot of the website. What a difference that in terms of usability, look, feel. I know you're in pilot mode and some of us have sent in spelling errors and stuff, and that's all about pilots, but wow, what a difference. Thank you very, very much. Thank you to the police department and CMC for their support for the International Walk to School Day. I had a chance to participate at Kensington, and it was fabulous, and it really ties into our new sidewalk plan that we're rolling out. It was a fabulous turnout. I think they said over 40% of the kids walked to school that day, which was really fabulous. The classes that I read to, you were in a minority if you rode to school. One kid said, well, I didn't want to give up my iPad. Anyway, and last but not least, at the next meeting, I'll do a fuller or more comprehensive update on I think we've done 7 or 8 town halls. We've reached over 300 to 400 people, give an update to the board and the community on what we're hearing, and the next one's coming up after that. So. You had the opportunity to speak and you didn't, but okay, and a thank you to the staff for Autumn Treasures. Was a crazy Friday as Lisa came over to the McDonald House to meet with you and make the decision to have to cancel all but the competition part of the cook-off. You still had the Rotary doing the breakfast the next day, and then Sunday turned out to be a beautiful day. So in spite of all odds, and I know Lisa probably more than anybody feels like somebody that controls the rain spigot is really out to get her this year. Job well done. So thank you, and thank you for the reminder.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Mayor Maher, members of the board, Mr. Spencer, Ms. Schuler. The town manager's report tonight will involve our quarterly financial report. Your financial policies call for a financial report to the board every quarter, so this will be for July, August, and September of this fiscal year. Our July 1st begins our fiscal year, so we'll see where we are. And this will be, we'll start out with just a broad overview of the general fund. The general fund is by far your largest fund. That's where most of your financial activity is. So with 25% of the year complete, we have received 16% of our budgeted revenues. Well, you think, well, my goodness, we're running behind. Well, we always run behind because property tax is your single largest source of revenue, making up about 50% of your revenue base. And most of that comes in the December, January timeframe. So we're always running behind at this point in the year with revenues compared to where we are. On the expenditure side, we're ahead of where we should be, but two other things to keep in mind there. And this is 30% of our expenditures that we have spent or encumbered through the first 3 months. And encumbered is an important word because we oftentimes encumber many of the contracts that we have for the full year, so it skews the number. So that's an explanation there. So revenues over or under expenditures to date, when you look at the numbers on that, we have spent or encumbered $1 million more than we've collected. But again, that's not unusual. And that's one of the reasons it's important to have a strong fund balance so you can carry yourself until the bulk of your revenue starts coming in December and January with property tax. So let's look at some property tax collections for July through September. So you're just over $500,000 in collections through the first quarter, and you can see your collections continue to get stronger and stronger compared to the previous years. In fact, you're ahead 35% compared to where you were this time last year with real property tax collections. That's a great trend. And you can see that's been the case for the last 2 years. So no red flags there. We're in good shape. And looking specific, so that was for real property. Looking at your vehicle property tax revenue, the same sort of scenario. You're 21% ahead of where you were at this point last year with vehicle property tax revenue. So not only your real property tax base continues to grow, but obviously when folks move to Waxhaw, they bring their cars with them, and that adds to the number. So those are two really strong numbers for Waxhaw. Sales tax revenue, this is just for July. The way our sales tax revenue comes in, there's a large lag, so we just have 1 month of sales tax revenue to date. And again, good trend there. You're at about 7.5% more at this point this year than you were at this point last year in terms of the first month of collection. So that's a great number, the fact that your sales tax revenue is growing as well. And let's move over into some building permitting numbers. So the bread and butter in Waxhaw seems to be single-family building that's been going on. So let's look at some new single-family building permits for the first quarter. So we're at 73 single-family building permits through the first 3 months. That's a 10% increase over where we were the first 3 months of the previous year. So those numbers are accelerating. They seem to be accelerating through the first 3 months. The value of those single-family building permits is almost $31 million. That's an increase of 10% over the previous year. Again, there's a common theme here. The trajectory is upward in both revenues and building permitting activity in terms of numbers and value. Y'all stop me as I move through this if you have questions. So again, the first 3 months, a 10% increase over where we were at this point last year. If you look at the value of those single-family homes being permitted, it's been steady the last 2 years. Through the first 3 months, it's about $424,000. That's a phenomenal number, being an average, and that's held steady the last 2 years in Waxhaw. This is a little bit different slide. So the number of new commercial building permits in Waxhaw, so all the commercialization that's going on in Waxhaw, that was supposed to be a little bit humorous, but through the first 3 months, if you look at FY 14-15, the first 3 months yielded 0 new commercial building permits. Last year, through the first 3 months, we had netted 4. So far this year, 1. And I was racking my brain to trying to remember what the 1 was, but I'm not sure. I have to go back and look. But so on I think it was permitted before the first 3 months. But anyway, so there's not a whole lot of activity on the commercial side through the first 3 months of this fiscal year. And I'll be glad to answer any questions you might have. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, next up is we're going to cover a little old business. Lisa McCarter is going to take us through the comprehensive planning and comprehensive plan policy bridge. Just share the status as it came out of the planning board, and with an eye towards at the next meeting we would move forward to approve both documents. So, Lisa?
Okay. I'm going to give the technology just a second here. Okay. So, tonight, the comprehensive plan and bridge are before you just for discussion, and they will come to you on October 25th for consideration of adoption. So I wanted to give you an overview of the comprehensive plan and just a very brief overview of the bridge. So what's a comprehensive plan? A comprehensive plan is a master plan for all of Waxhaw and all the potential areas we could annex and grow, and it's a guide for future development and annexations. A comprehensive plan sets goals, policies, and guidelines intended to direct present and future physical, social, and economic development, and it's a long-range guide setting out community goals and objectives. A comprehensive plan is a foundation for the creation of the new Unified Development Ordinance. but a comprehensive plan is not regulations. So for example, if we had in the comprehensive plan that we wanted a community with an interconnected trail network, in the new UDO, you would see the language that says to what specifications through development we need that trail. Benchmark Planning was hired by the Board of Commissioners in November 2014 to prepare a comprehensive plan to replace the previous plan from 2009. Since the process began, a 12-member steering committee, along with citizens, business leaders, volunteer boards, elected officials, staff, and others participated in the This Is My Waxhaw, a comprehensive planning, visioning, and input process. So I'm just going to go over the comprehensive plan draft a little bit. It's separated into 3 parts: introduction, plan components, and implementation. The introduction tells the story of the creation of the plan, which began by research into all the previously adopted plans in Waxhaw. Then a plan for public input and collaboration was created. In January 2015, we had the steering committee kickoff meeting. Since that time, there's been 12 steering committee meetings, a joint town board and steering committee meeting, and then the first draft was prepared in September of 2015. This was followed by 2 days of public meetings, and in February 2016, there was a joint town board, planning board, and steering committee meeting. The second draft was delivered in February 2016, the third in May of 2016, and the final in August of 2016. On September 19th, the final draft went to the planning board for recommendation. And so that leads us to tonight for the discussion. The plan components start with the land use and growth management section. This section of the plan establishes a future growth strategy. A growth sector map was created which shows the areas that have the infrastructure in place to support development versus those that do not. The other components include transportation, economic development, municipal services and infrastructure, parks and recreation, natural and environmental resources, historic preservation, and cultural resources. The highest implementation priorities from the comprehensive plan draft were identified at a joint work session between the town board, planning board, and steering committee meeting on November 12, 2015. So these were: for the land use and growth management section, focused urban growth, orderly expansion, and coordinated growth management. For transportation, it focused on Highway 16 and the Waxhaw Parkway, and also to identify funding opportunities to get us those improvements. The economic development implementation recommendations recommended the town manager and Union County Economic Development Coordinator as the liaisons, and to focus economic plans and strategies to coordinate with the growth sectors maps. For municipal services and infrastructure, that there be a joint wastewater plan with Union County, and in the short term to focus on the intended growth sector area and let the controlled growth sector area be addressed in the long term, and to partner with Union County on downtown infrastructure. For park and recreation, an implementation recommendation was to partner with the county on mutually beneficial sites for facilities, and for the overall plan to have regular updates and every 5 years to have a major update. So in August, there was a workshop for town board consensus on outstanding issues. On September 19th was the planning board meeting, and tonight is the discussion. And the relationship of a comprehensive plan and a unified development ordinance, I kind of went over it a little bit already, but a comprehensive plan is mapped and written policies on how land should be managed and developed, where a unified development ordinance is development regulations that use the comprehensive plan policies as a foundation. So the comprehensive plan is more of a long-range guide, and the unified development ordinance is a regulatory tool. The comprehensive plan would be organized by topics or plan components, where a unified development ordinance is generally organized by zoning districts with specific regulations. The comprehensive plan has a future land use map, and the unified development ordinance would have a zoning map. So now I'm going to switch gears and just very briefly talk about the comp plan bridge. In October 2015, Studio Cascade was hired to write the new UDO, And in their review of the comprehensive plan draft, they noticed that they needed a little bit more information to create the new Unified Development Ordinance. They needed guidance on implementation, clear direction on how policy can be put into action, a broader context in which the town operates. And so they recommended a bridge document to supply the missing information. And that contract was signed in April of 2016. It has 5 components: vision, future land use map zoning designation table, policy action implementation guide, and policy framework. Staff recommends approval of the comprehensive plan and the comprehensive plan policy bridge, which together provide a foundation for the new UDO. And the planning board recommended unanimous approval of the comprehensive plan and bridge. So that's the end of my presentation, if you have any questions.
Do we have any questions for Lisa?
I have a comment on page 2.22 under D2, which is, I think I brought this up in the last time we discussed this, about regulatory barriers such as requirements for quasi-judicial hearings, and I had asked that that be removed as an example.
Okay.
Are you in the bridge document or the comprehensive plan?
Comprehensive.
Okay.
And as well as the bridge document.
So that's also in the bridge document?
Any other comments? Questions? So with that, we're comfortable bringing both forward to the next board meeting and having them placed on the agenda.
Sounds good.
Okay. Very good. Thank you, Lisa. Okay, one item of new business. Initiation of voluntary annexation petition 18-218 for David Francis. And this is a request by David Francis on behalf of David L. Francis Limited Partnership for annexation of approximately 10 acres with parcel defined in the packet.
You stole my thunder. Yeah, just quickly, this is an annexation request by David Francis to annex approximately 10 acres. Just so everybody will know where it is, it's a 10-acre piece of land just on the east side of Providence Road or Highway 16, just across from where Great Byram intersects. And in the future, he will be joining it with 2 other pieces of land that he has in town now, and there will be a future rezoning that will incorporate this piece of property and the 2 that are already in town. But staff recommends initiating the process for annexation.
Okay. Any questions of Mr. Rice? So at this time, I would be happy to entertain a motion to approve the resolution directing the town clerk to investigate annexation petition 18-218. The petition is included in your packet. Have a motion to initiate the process, to approve the resolution. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
The ayes have it. Ms. Schuler, can you verify the petition was investigated and is sufficient?
Yes, I do confirm that the petition is sufficient.
Okay, thank you. And in that case, I would be happy to entertain a motion to approve the resolution scheduling the public hearing for November 7th, 2016 at 6:30 p.m. in the Police Department Community Room, 3620 Providence Road South. The full annexation petition public hearing announcement is included in your packet.
So moved.
Have a motion to approve. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it. With that, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Just a quick reminder before we do that our next regularly scheduled board meeting has been moved to 7 o'clock on the 25th, not 6:30, for everybody benefit, no knowledge. Thanks.
Thank you. Still entertain a motion.
So moved.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.